Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aquarius for March 2016. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see my astrology blog, my health blog, my other blogs, and you can sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community and get all the perks that go along with that. So what is going on in March Madness? We have so many things that are important and really big deals, each in their own right. Plus a ton of other mini transits that are occurring all throughout the month. It's just very astrologically busy. Lots happening. So let's take it piece by piece. Let's talk about the eclipses. Eclipse time happens twice a year. It's in the spring-ish. Sometimes it's just before, one of them might be just before it officially turns into spring. And then it's just in the fall. Again, maybe right before it's officially fall, but in that period of time. So basically every 6 months or so, we have this massive closing, ending, completion, coming to fruition cycle, and then this opening, new trajectories, new beginnings. And sometimes the news that comes in, either for the new beginning or the ending, is really big, earth-shattering news. And sometimes it's welcome and awesome, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes those things happen at the same time, but it's very busy and very active. Now, depending on where they're hitting in your personal chart, if they're making angles or aspects to angles or planets in your chart, then you might be affected more. So if you have any planets at 18 degrees, anywhere really in your chart, but 18 degrees of Pisces, which is where the solar eclipse is on March 8th, or at 3 degrees of Libra, or 3 degrees anywhere, it would make an angle to those planets or those angles in your chart, and you would be affected more. So eclipse time is often broken up into the people who are experiencing the massive change, and then the other people who are holding space for those people who are experiencing massive change. And you might find you're in a situation with both, where you've got big changes and you've got people around you that are experiencing big changes. So you're holding space and you're navigating your own craziness. So a lunar eclipse is happening at 3 degrees of Libra. Again, that's on March 23rd. And this is the ending of a cycle that began at the end of 2013. So the eclipses happen in opposing signs generally throughout the time that cycle is active. So the first Aries-Libra eclipse cycle happened at the end of 2013. And so they have been alternating with solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, and Aries and Libra throughout the time until now. So we're here almost 3 years or 2.5 years into a story of me versus we. And this is global. This is for everyone. So stories of me being eclipsed out and new versions of me being brought out, and then stories of we being ended or eclipsed out and new stories of we beginning. Sometimes you'll be with the same people, key relationships throughout the whole eclipse cycle, and those changes will show closings and completions and new openings within the relationship. And sometimes the endings will actually end a relationship or start a new one. So there's something ending in we. And this is especially strong for Aquariuses because we've got the ending, the lunar eclipse, happening in the sign of Libra, which is one of the signs of we, and then it's happening for all Aquariuses in the house of Scorpio, the 8th house, which is the other sign of we. Libra and Scorpio are our we signs, things having to do with people doing stuff together. And there's endings there. So you could be ending a relationship, a financial relationship with someone where you had a loan and you paid it off, or you were in debt and you paid it off, or you had a business and you ended it, something like that. Or you were married and you got divorced, or something like that. So this Aries-Libra cycle, if you pay attention, has been showing you a story since the end of 2013, and this is the end of the story. Now, there can be up to 4 to 6 months after the actual eclipse that details get carried out. So let's say you've been having trouble in your relationship and a divorce or a separation was pending. And now with this eclipse, it might be the final news that ends it, and then maybe you spend the next 4 months or whatever, 4 to 6 months, wrapping up the details of the separation of the energies. That's a good example of how many people are going to experience this. Or it could just have to do with relationships with money. It could have to do with many other things that have to do with the 8th house. The opening comes for early placements, early degree Aquarius placements in the second house. So if your birthday is in the first, like January born Aquariuses, basically, or if you're at 0 to 9 degrees, if you're looking for your rising sign, most of you are going to have some kind of new finances opening, brand new trajectories, new streams of income, or you're doing work that will bring you income in the future, because the second cycle that's going on is the Pisces-Virgo cycle. So we're ending the Aries-Libra cycle, but we're still in the Pisces-Virgo cycle, and that runs into 2017. So there's a story about chaos versus order, unseen things versus tangibility. That's the theme that's been at play since the beginning of 2015 when the Pisces-Virgo eclipses started. This story of taking things that are more abstract and making them concrete, and taking things that are too solidified, too concrete, and opening up a little space there. You know, this dynamic between constriction and expansion, or abstract and tangible, really is a better way to describe it. That's the story that's going on. So you'll see this theme happening in your life. And really, many people will see chaos to order, and too much order loosening up into a little bit more flow. So early degree placements, very likely to have a new stream of income, or laying a major brick in your foundation for future income. It's very exciting. The rest of you are going to experience this solar eclipse, this new energy in your first house, which has to do with your definition of yourself. So maybe you've seen yourself as your job. This is common that people define themselves, well, I am this, so therefore that, right? You are your job. Many people don't feel in resonance with their job, and some of you might wind up ending your jobs in order to redefine yourself. Or you're working along this Pisces-Virgo continuum where you're building something in the backdrop. So you're doing something with your face is here, you're this. And then in the backdrop, you're building to become and present something else. So various stages of completion will come to fruition throughout this Pisces-Virgo cycle into 2017. And we have another strong placement here that's moving you along that continuum. It's really exciting to have a solar eclipse happen in your first house, because there's a chance for new vitality, your new relationship with your physical body, ending of addictions. There's also strong energy around finding the solutions to mysterious or enigmatic health problems. You might find something in this time or in this cycle that has been a chronic genetic influence, a congenital issue that you've been dealing with your whole life that comes to light. And for many of you, this might have something to do with methylation. You'll hear me talking more about methylation in the future. I'll have a vlog and probably some other things. But methylation is a normal function in the body. It's supposed to be normal. But 30 to 50% of people don't methylate properly. So they're not detoxifying properly. So that's making them get backed up. Instead of breaking down and releasing neurotransmitters and hormones and toxins, they're backing up and causing all kinds of problems. And it's coming from this problem, which is methylation, which has been undiagnosed for many people. You start methylating properly, and it can change your whole life. Things like that are at the root of what's going to be happening for many of you. This relationship with body, how you feel affects what you present out into the world. If you feel insecure, if you feel hormonal and sensitive, if you have hormones in your body that are being backed up and not properly broken down, you might feel like you're an emotional mess and think that you have mental or emotional problems that you don't actually have. It could just be this methylation problem. And then when you get all the excess estrogen or whatever it is out of your body, or testosterone out of your body, then you might feel perfectly normal and level. You know, this is the kind of energy that is coming to Aquarius, where how you feel, how you look, what you present, what you're showing in the world can really change for the better, and is something to be excited about. So in general, there's a lot of energy for everyone, all Aquarius placements in the first house. Even if you're an early degree placement and you're not having the solar eclipse there, there's lots of personal planets and other planets that are moving through the first house. So this active time of redefining yourself is very current for Aquariuses. You might have to reframe how you are seeing yourself in order to open yourself up to new opportunities. Let's see. Okay, so then we have Mars retrograde. Mars is going to go retrograde on April 17th and run through June 29th. If you're watching this sometime in the first week of February, I'll have my Mars retrograde blog and video up. And I definitely recommend that you watch that because Mars only goes retrograde once every almost 2 years. And it rules a lot of things. And there's really a lot of important things that you want to know about it. Do's and don'ts, avoids and things that can support your process. But in general, Mars is the energy that rules initiation and assertive movement. So, and your vitality as well. So if you're wanting to initiate or launch something new, birth something new, Mars retrograde is not the best time to do it because things birthed during that time will often fizzle out, lose their spice or their fizz. And so you don't want to launch something new then. So if you're launching something and you're watching in February, all of February has great times to launch things, do something new, initiate things, and then the first half of March is really good. Even though we're in the Mars shadow period, there are some good dates for launching things as well. So you don't want to start new romantic relationships when Mars is in retrograde because Mars rules sexual energy as well, and it's the same kind of energy of fizzling out. So you might have something very intense that comes in when Mars is in retrograde, and by the time the cycle passes, then it's completely fizzled out. So if something like that comes in, give it some time before you get married or have a person move in or do something permanent with that attraction or draw, because it's very likely to change. And if you knew that beforehand, it might change how you handled the situation. Same thing with getting engaged or married. There are some things that could supersede this. It's a very complex thing to pick a wedding date, etc. But in general, if you can avoid it, you don't want to have a romantic relationship pushing forward at a time when the energy of romance is going backwards, because that gets locked in to the date. Okay, so I'm going to initiate things before, if possible. Then it's really good to go back in Mars retrograde and work on stuff that you've already launched. That's one of the benefits of getting something out there in February and the beginning of March, because then when everything starts to slow down, and it probably will, then you can go back over things. That's the kind of energy that is conducive for Mars retrograde. It's a time that can be very wonderful for relaxing and having fun and, just taking the edge off. If you're a person that is on full throttle all the time, then you might find that you really like Mars retrograde, especially if you know beforehand, like February, March, just like gun it and do everything that you can. And then as you start to feel the energy is waning at the end of March and into April, then you will have done so much for your cause or what you're trying to do, then you can kick back and relax without having to worry. You can prepare financially for that time, etc. So if you need any help with your specific circumstances, business timing of events, launching projects, etc., I would love to help you, or just general spiritual or other counseling. You can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and click on coaching. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter. I do a monthly write-up that gives the energy of the month ahead for my VIP crew and my email group. And you get other perks as well. And definitely check out my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. If you go to anniehelpsyou.com and click on programs, then click on Shine, you can see about my sliding scale program that assists you in one by one clearing out the blocks that are interfering with you living in your highest expression and in your most ease and grace. I'd love to help with that. So check it out. And I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month.